So thank you all for joining us. Again, the topics for today are tokenized login and event registration, specifically wait lists with event registration. And we're going to be starting with token login. So I'm just going to walk us through the token login configurations and settings. So just for kind of what we have going on here, and y'all can see my screen, I'm guessing?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Confirmed.
Excellent. Excellent. So this is going to be the back end, and this is off of our demo server that you could actually physically hit. It is on the public internet. And then this is basically I'm portal hopping onto portal 4 for the front-facing look on this, and I'm just inside of a private window so that we can just kind of hop back and forth and see what's going on. So let's start with the token login modules. Token login, let me just give a little bit of a brief on what it is. The idea behind it is to allow people to stay logged in without having to provide a password. There's a couple different ways to use token login. You can actually use it to do a passwordless login, because it will send a link, and then once they hit the link, then they log in. And depending upon the kind of token that you issue them, you can make it a one-time, so that every time they would come in, they could do a passwordless login. Or you can do what we call a chaining token. And that token, and I'll show you exactly where that token is and the cookie stuff on the browser, but that token is used once. It is then expired on the system, and a new token is reissued and sent back to the client at that time. So there's a little extra security in that every token is only used once, but it does reissue a token immediately upon the successful use of the previous token, so that a person feels like they never really log out.
You said that's the chaining token?
That's chaining, yeah. So basically, okay, the first token is used and thrown away, and the next token is issued immediately. And again, all of this is around trying to make it easier, specifically for people on mobile devices, to stay logged into this portal. So we're going to go look at some of the page settings here. I don't know where I've got this particular demo box, but we'll go ahead and get Portal 4 on here configured for token login and have it work everywhere. So the first thing that has to happen is you have to be able to get a token. I think I have token login out here. So there's two ways to get token login. There's the token login search, which is what we're on here. And it has multiple configuration. You can either put a phone number in, or you can put an email address in. If you put a phone number in, it's gonna use your configured SMS provider to send back the token, and it'll just put it back on a URL. There's actually also a way of showing the login or showing the token input screen, so that you could put your phone number in, get a token back off of SMS, and then literally type that token in to a box here, and it will immediately log you in. So we'll walk through all of that. Then there's the token login. Well, there's hiding login. You guys are probably all familiar with hiding login, but we integrated into this remember password that if you have token login turned on, and if the person says remember password, then it will issue them a token. Let's go ahead and give that a shot first, because that's a way for us to kind of look at the oh, hang on just a second. Let me see what's going on up here. Sorry, crash from the other room. Just wanted to make sure everything's okay. Everything's fine.
Yeah. That's good to hear. Everything's okay.
Yep, everybody's fine. All right, let me throw this back here onto the bottom so that we can kind of see what's going on. I don't know if you all have used this inspector, but you can look at your cookies under the application, and then it's under storage, cookies, and then you can select that particular thing. And you can see that because I portal hopped, there is a obfuscated string underscore portal of value 4, and then you get your ASP.NET session ID, and all those are, well, this is an arena specific thing, and this is an ASP.NET specific thing. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here. I do not know how this is set, so if we don't get a cookie, then that will then I'll know that I need to go adjust some settings. And once I hit sign in, it goes and it's doing that sign in process, and we got a new cookie called login token without the vowels. You'll notice that that is a obfuscated string. It's actually encrypted too, and it's also stored in the database as an encrypted string. Now, depending upon how I have this set up, if I click log out and I have token login appropriately set up, I will not log out. And sure enough, I didn't log out. And here's where you can see the chaining, because if it is set up, it's set up as chaining. You can kind of see what this is. So this is an FRZKO something, something, something. Once I hit click here to log out, you're going to see that that chaining took effect, and now we've got a whole new token. So that's how those tokens work, is as they are used, and when I click log out, it's actually logging me out, but then it's taking me back through that login token page and logging me back in immediately. So that's why you're seeing the login token shift. Does that make sense, Matt?
Yes, but that also defeats the purpose of logging out, right?
It can, unless you do it in a very specific way. I'll show you how to configure it so that you can log out. In general, most people don't try to log out. And often, honestly, if you're going to implement token login across the board, I would say just take the logout button away. Most people are used to the fact that they don't log out, they just let their session expire. And session expiry is still a thing, it still will expire. However, if you're on that browser that has that token and you hit one of these pages, you will get logged in immediately. So even though the session's dead, the login token will take over and will relog you in. So
Matt, I have a quick question about that. If you could you do this and set up a page that doesn't have token login? Say you have like a kiosk in the lobby that you went. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. Yeah, there's two ways to set up that token login module. This might be as good a time as any to go look at that. So under the template, and we are using the members responsive template, so I will go find it. I have put this module somewhere. I never remember where I put it. It might be on header, it could be on nav, could be on main. So I'm just going to go find it. It's in here somewhere. There it is on main. So as a part of the module settings of this, you can exclude specific page IDs that you don't want to have the token login functionality pay attention to. So there's two ways of configuring this token login module. You can put it on specific pages that you want it to work on, and then it'll just work on those pages, or you can put it at the template level and it'll work on everything except what you exclude here. So kind of two different ways to work that. So if your users are very used to a flow and a process that says, click here to log in, and they expect that login to be the first thing, you could just implement this token login page on your login page, so that when they hit the login page, it will just automatically log them in. And then at that point, that redirect page would be a really handy thing to use so that it would redirect them to the home page. Or you can implement it like we've implemented it here, which is at the template level. So it's on every single page, and then you can exclude specific pages. So Matt, if you wanted to implement logout with this kind of mechanism on it, what you would do is put the force logout module on a specific page, include that page in this exclude list, so that when they are redirected to that login page where the force logout module is sitting on that page, the logout will actually happen. Now, as soon as they hit another page, which it was logging them out, it just all happened very quickly. But with the force logout module, you can actually redirect them somewhere else so that it feels more like it's logged out, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
But as soon as they hit a portal page that requires login, that has token login implemented on it, either explicitly or implicitly without this exclude, then it's going to log them in. So that's why I said it really, logout kind of becomes a bit of a misnomer in that context, because if you've got that token, then you're going to get logged in. Now, you're probably going to say, well, but I'd like to control those tokens, and I don't want, what if I want to kill all my sessions and log out? So we have a way to do that too. I did not see it implemented underneath the pages, so I'm just going to go implement that module here real quickly while we're talking about it. So we're going to come under KFS token login as soon as I remember where I'm at, not home. We want to go to members responsive, home page. Token logins in here somewhere. And we're just going to go ahead and create a new child page on this. And it allows you to see the tokens that have been assigned for each user. And you can use it either on the portal, so it'll just show them their own tokens. You can use it as a function of the person profile page as another tab in the person profile page, so that you could administratively go look up the tokens that each person might have. You could also run it as a full administration page where you would see all the tokens for all of the people. That's a little less useful, especially if somebody is calling the church office saying, hey, I'm just concerned, I can't get logged out. That's why we built the person profile approach, so that you can kill all of the sessions for a given person administratively without having to look at all of the sessions for everyone. At any rate, we're going to implement this as though it was part of a member portal, which this is. And we're just going to call that the My Tokens page. My tokens. Awesome. Okay, we'll create that page now. And then I'm going to go put the My Tokens page, my token module on that page. I actually don't remember what it's called. Hopefully I'll remember about the time I look at it. It is the token login management page, which takes on different roles depending upon how you have that particular module configured. So token, we'll call this My Tokens. Show title, sure. Contents, main, logged in user tokens only. I only want to see the logged in user tokens in this implementation. I'm going to hit update on that. And now with a little bit of refresh cache magic, we will now have under the token login page, My Tokens. I'm going to go ahead and close this so that we don't have to look at it. And under the My Tokens, you can see how many tokens have been issued, what kind of token. -1 is a spurious, and it's from 2020. So we're just going to delete that one. And that's how quickly you can delete them. And it gives just a little bit of information about what tokens are there, how often they're there. So obviously this is one that is no longer in use. It was probably on a different browser because that date is pretty darn old. So I'm going to close that. And then if I were to delete this token here, I no longer have a valid token. So as soon as I click log out, guess what? I'm actually logged out. So those tokens really do take effect, and it really is validating those tokens. So again,
were you actually logged out before you hit log out?
No,
like
it wasn't.
Okay, so even if you deleted that token, you could still navigate like you were logged in.
Yeah, let me just go back in and we can look at that. So once I hit sign in here, it is going to issue me a new token. So I could go look at my tokens. There's my one token. I can throw away my one token, and then let's go look at, let's look at my account. I don't know what is under that exactly. I think that's like a default Shelby page, but you're going to see that I'm still logged in. I mean, there's my family right here. No, this is actually our page. Here's all my information. I'm still very, very definitely logged in until I click log out. And once I click log out, now I'm really logged out because I don't have a token to validate against. So what actually happened on the back end is that token didn't disappear off my browser. The token login said, hey, do you have a login token that I can try and validate for you? And it said, sure, here's my login token. And then token login behind the scenes said, nope, that's not a valid login. Proceed as if you're not logged in, just ignore, move on. If it had matched, then it would have logged me in and we would have been off to the races.
Gotcha. Okay. So there's kind of two logins. There's there's two tokens. There's one on the browser and then one on the arena side. And
yes,
what you were doing was you were removing the arena side.
Yep.
And then the one on the token or the one on the browser side just becomes null.
Exactly. Well, it becomes useless because it can't authenticate. Useless. Right. And that's how token login works, is it says, I'm going to give this browser a token and I'm going to store that token, and I'm actually storing dates on both sides too. So as a part of this hiding login, we're going to go in and look at the module settings for this guy. You can actually set an expiration date for that token. And it's defaulted to 90 days. So if you don't put something in here, it will put 90 days on it. And that's checking both on the browser side. So the browser itself will expire that cookie at 90 days. And it'll just delete it out of the cookie cache. In addition, we're storing that on the Arena table as well, the login cookie expiry. And if for whatever reason that cookie did not get destroyed by the browser and gets handed off, but it's outside that 90 days, then it will also fail their login. Okay, so like I said, we've got 3 modes of this. You've got a one-time, a multi, and a chaining. Multi is where the same token will be used over and over and over and over and over again. That was our first implementation. I'm not a huge fan of that, because if you took the exact value in the login cookie from one browser and copied it over to another browser, I realize this is kind of edge case, that other browser would be able to log in as though it was that person forever. So at least with chaining, it's going to change that token, and it expires all other chaining tokens for that particular browser. So I guess if you copied the token over, you would make another browser log in as that person regardless, whether it's chaining or not, now that I think about it. But
yeah, that kind of begs the question, now that we have browsers that share cookies, and you can share login states. You know, if I have Google Chrome on my mobile device and Google Chrome on my PC or Mac or something like that, would that mean if we use that system that they would be logged in across all channels?
Yes, it would.
Okay, that's good to know. The second thing that I was kind of curious about, can we get this token to work with the cell phone lookup feature?
Yeah, so let's jump over to that page. So we're going to come back up here, because that's really the token login search page that we were talking about. And we have not gone through the module settings on this, nor looked at exactly what that ends up looking like. So we're going to start with the module settings on this one. So this is the token login search. And really, that's exactly what it's doing. It's allowing a user to search for themselves using either email or phone number, and initiate a token for themselves by one of those means. And it's going to be I don't want to call it 2-factor, because you're not putting a username and password in and then getting it, but it is a secondary mode situation. So if you put an email address in, it's going to send you an email with your token on it. If you put in a phone number and it matches, it's going to send you a SMS back. So it doesn't swap up and change between those modes, and it doesn't immediately log you in and say, oh, I think you're this person. Are you this person? And then a click and you're in, because that would be dumb. So we try to avoid dumb. So this display mode, this says, am I going to do phone only, email only, or phone and email? We're going to go ahead and just turn them both on here so that we can look at them. Enabling the keypad, it's very much like our mobile check-in. It puts that mobile check-in keypad up so that if this is intended to be used primarily off of a mobile device, it's a little nicer to have that keypad. I'm going to leave it turned off for now, just because it does clutter up the screen a little bit on the computer view. I'm going to enable token. This is a badly named thing. We're going to enable the token login entry box. So this is where I will get back a login token that tells me the actual token, but I have to put that token into a box. It's not put on a link for me that I can just click. So I'm going to go ahead and enable that so that we can see that. This is a login ID redaction. So part of what can happen here is if you put an email address in and it's linked to 2 potential logins, it's going to say which login are you trying to log in as. But we don't want to show the whole login ID, so we're just doing a redaction. That's what these stars are. It removes those characters. So I'm going to leave that as blank. Redirect page, I'm going to leave as blank. Site URL, this is how it would generate that the full token URL. And it's going to add the default.aspx for me. So I'm just going to do that. There are a couple of different token formats that you can get back. So if you're actually hand entering it, sticking with a numeric token for the first token is probably a good idea. Now, the default token life for this module is 1 day because it's intended that they're going to be getting a token and then using it nearly immediately. So that's why we went with 1 day rather than 90 days. So again, all configurable. We're going to move this over to chaining, and then I'm going to use our main Twilio number off of here. Email settings, these are just the things that are going to come back on email, and I'm going to leave those alone for now. MS notification. I might have to go build an email template for email to work here. And then I'm just going to have them land on the members responsive homepage. So then this is the SMS message. What's going to be in there? The bracket 0 bracket would be replaced with the link or the token, depending upon the enable token login setting. So that's the same thing with the email. Phone panel description. Let's see here. We're going to leave all these alone. Okay. So we're going to update that. Let me go look at my system emails really quickly to see. Well, I don't know what that MS whatever thing was. It is not in there. Probably is going to be like one of our custom email templates. And for that, we would need to use one of the KFS email things. I'm looking to see if it's in here. I'm not seeing it. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to go put that on the system emails page. I'm just going to go add ours to the bottom. I don't remember where it is. It's probably under utils. Boy, we've written a lot of modules. My heavens, I can't even remember writing all these, but I've been around from all. KFS email templates. Wait for that to refresh. Okay. Spelling, always bonus. Okay. Sort of one thing configured here, meaning this email templates is only going to work for token login communication things, but at any rate, sort of the quick and dirty. I would not recommend you doing it that way. I would recommend you setting up a page for KFS email templates and then including this particular module, this KFS email templates module, as many times as you need for all the different purposes that you're controlling KFS email templates for. That would be the right way to do this. I went the cheaty, fast and easy way because we're on a demo right now. So we will go back to this page. And then down here, yeah, so this MS notification, it is specifically for, oh, that's member survey. That's odd. We're just going to go add a new template down here. We'll call it our, make sure I go down to the right area. I think. think it's just called token. Yeah, just token. I just want the token. I don't want the actual tokenized link. Although, I mean, we might as well just put them all in here so that we can kind of see them. Okay, and we'll save that guy. So now we should see that we have a token login email. We'll go ahead and jump back to the page that we were on so that we can then configure that on that particular module instance, which was on here. Oh, not there. Token login. Token login. And the token login search page. And then the main content. It's text customization. Sorry, I'm breezing right by it. There's what I was looking for. Okay, then we'll update that guy. We'll come back over to here and we're going to run a refresh cache so that we get everything set up correctly here. All right, back to the token login, and we're going to go to the token login search page, which is now going to look like phone number or email. Let's go ahead and do phone number first. I actually don't remember if I've got that assigned to me right now. I should look and make sure it is, because it is actually going to send me an SMS. And if it goes to nowhere, that's not going to be helpful. Yeah, okay, it's on there.
Yeah, it occurs to me if you're putting this on YouTube, you might not want to be sharing some of this information.
Oh, I'm not worried about my phone number. My phone number is actually very public. And then I will also blur out anything that I don't want to share. So.
Okay. All right, that works.
Yeah, I'm used to it. Okay, so I am going to come over to here, and then I'm going to show you what I just got. And because I'm using an Apple device, and it says, please click this link, because I didn't customize it. But this is one of our KFS numbers that is hooked up through Twilio. And you can see that it told me 767784. So I can just copy that in this case. I can come over here and I can say, there's my code, and log in. And now I have done the passwordless login, which of course I didn't redirect it to a decent place, but my fault, not the module's fault. So now I'm logged in.
So that behaves similar to like a two-factor authentication step.
Very similar to a two-factor authentication step, but I don't want to call it two-factor because it's not two-factor. It's still single-factor. It's just passwordless.
Right. So you're just taking a short code and you're using that as the hash and salt authentication method.
Exactly.
More or less. Yeah.
More or less. Yeah. And then we can demonstrate the process. So the fast way to do this, well, I guess now that I've implemented that module, the fast way to do this is to come here, look at my tokens, and kill my token, log out, and then go back into token login and go to the search, and then we'll do it off of email as well. I don't know which email I have on there. Let me go look really quickly if I have any. I got them all. Sweet. All right. So we're going to go ahead and do that one. We will search for that. It will say, check your email for a link. And obviously you'd want to customize this if you were doing like the login with a code. Check your email for a link doesn't help if I'm putting a code in. That's why all this is customizable. You know, use your best judgment as you're configuring this module for your specific use. And I am just waiting for that to come in. You know, that email may actually not deliver because I don't think that we have email delivery set up off of these boxes for obvious reasons. We don't want email coming off of those. So that's not going to work, but it's going to work it would work the exact same way. You'd get an email, you'd have a code in it, you put the code in, and it would work. Now, since I don't have the code, just to kind of prove that I'm just making up a number, Nope, don't know that one. And
If
even
that
if you
would have worked, I would have laughed.
yeah, I know. We do attempt. In fact, we don't even restrict the numbers that can go in there, so you can actually go with like one number. Yeah, it's not gonna. We've done some pretty extensive testing. It's not gonna let you in unless you give it the exact right code. I think the only other thing to show here is a quick configuration on this guy to let's show that token login management on the internal page because it ought to be there and it's not. Let's just put it on the logins page because that makes sense. So we're going to go add to the main content. We're just going to put the token login management on there. So in this case, I do not want logged in user tokens only because I'm in administrative mode. I'm actually going to use the, oh, I did the cardinal sin of leaving it new module. I can't let that one go. So what I really want this, so this module will pay attention to if up in the URL you have a like a person ID or the person GUID or the GUID, it will pay attention to that and work for that. I could use a return to page, except that I can't because it would not have the GUID on it. So it would give me a nice little like, hey, you haven't looked for a person. Go look for a person and try again. And one more time with feeling. I'm going to go ahead and throw a refresh cache on this. Whoops. It's very picky on spelling, and that still was missing an H. Man, that moment when people are watching you type, you don't type right ever.
It never goes right the first time.
No.
Or
the second time. All right, now let's take that refresh cache off of there so we don't have to deal with it through the rest of these clicks. So looks like I don't have login implemented. Wow, that was just brilliant. Let's go implement login. You guys have probably done this before. The person detail is a pages tabs, and you can add another tab very easily. And in this case, I just have to navigate to it, which I happen to know it is page 7, that they're all underneath. I just can't remember where that's at. Let's just do it this way. This is the cheaty way. Normally it will scroll to it. It did. And then I can rotate it down, and then I can say I want logins. Okay. Update. Go ahead and run our refresh cache from here. So I don't have to type it and demonstrate my inability to type the word refresh and cache. And we'll search again. This time we will have a logins tab. Yay. Okay, under logins, we now have login tokens as well. So you can see that that login token is here, and I can expire. So you can see that it's there. I haven't been able to log in. You'll also notice that it does not tell me what the token is here. That's intentional. We don't want the token to be available. What we do want to do is just be able to kill it and say, you know what, try again. That didn't work. So we can hit the start over button. This time we'll go ahead and do it off of the phone number. Again, I will get that link, which is 562-862 this time. Log in, and then I'm good to go. Except for it's going to take me to a page that doesn't exist because I misconfigured the redirect on that particular module. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about questions.
Yes. So quick question. Just wanted to make sure that I understand it right. So thank you for walking through kind of the chaining step. And I think that's the default setting for this module, correct?
Probably. I don't know, actually.
Probably.
Can't remember.
You did talk about multi, which probably wouldn't be used, and one time, which I guess just expires with the session, correct?
Yeah, basically it just doesn't assign it. So we could have set this to one time. I would have been able to log in with that code one time. And then when I log out, I'm logged out. Or when the session expires, I'm gone. And so that's really just a passwordless login configuration.
Okay. So if you make the session timeout time super long, and have it as one time. You could do the log in, log out, and you could see all of your devices from like if you had a My Profile page and you had the list of all the tokens that were associated with that account. That would be the method that you'd want to use, is the single time with an extended session versus
I don't know about extending the session. I mean, the session gets reset as you're interacting with it. So as long as you're interacting, your session will not expire. That expiry is based on inactivity.
Okay.
So I don't know that you'd want to go for a long session time. That probably doesn't make the most sense. And then we do have a module called Server Timeout that lets you look at your specific let's see if it will display for me here. You do have to have an administrative username and password. I probably gonna have to tell it the Arena 2400-2 /administrator.
I compliment you for speaking out the username, but not speaking out the password.
Thank you. So here are your different server settings, and this just makes it a little bit easier to understand what each one is, because there are 3 of them that are used specifically in .NET. This crosses any .NET application. So there's the .NET Forms authentication timeout, there's the application pool idle timeout, and then there's the session state timeout. For this particular server, we set it to 600 minutes, which is very long, that's 10 hours. So, you know, we did that because it's a demo server and we didn't want to get logged out a lot. But if you wanted to examine what each one of these is, we also provided a nice little link. And then balancing security with shorter, smaller numbers with usability, longer, bigger numbers, and then make your own choice, and then you can update it. And this module is on your box. If you're using KFS stuff, we deliver it to everybody, and you just have to have a server administrator and password in order to get in here. And after you update it, every time you hit this page, you have to put a username and password into this page, because this being beyond what we would consider beyond Arena administrator settings, you know, this actually impacts the application and how it's installed on the box. So
cool, awesome. I feel pretty good at this point. I know I have something I was going to hop off with. I thank you for going over anything.
Yeah, not a problem. And we'll move on to registration now. So Wendy and Nancy, hopefully you found that useful. Do you have any questions on this before we move on?
No, these were some really helpful nuggets. I've been looking for this kind of thing, this token. I know you guys were working on it, so that was fortuitous.
Excellent. We like being fortuitous. I would almost say we want it to be our middle name, but that'd just be awkward.
Yeah, hard to say.
All righty. Well, let's talk about registration and specifically wait lists. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull up the post the guy put in Arena yesterday, because that was the best summary that I have ever seen us write on how that works. So let me figure out a way to
How did he post that in Slack? Because I got back on to look at it after asking the question.
Yeah, let me just take a screenshot. That's going to be the fastest way here, because I don't want to show everything, but I do want to show his answer, because his answer was fantastic. And it was really succinct, something that I am not necessarily the best at. So I love fantastic, succinct answers. Those are good. All right, so we're going to come over here and we're just going to talk through the specifics of this. So I'm going to read it and then I'll annotate it as I go. First, let me make sure to explain how the concept works. It allows you to use one event as a waiting list for another event. So it is 2 events. When configured properly, which you have to use our KFS's event register steps, once the main event is full, people will automatically be sent to register for the waiting list event when they try to register for the main event. There are a few pieces to put in place to make it work. First of all, you have to have a custom field group named something like Event Waiting List with a waiting list event custom field in it. This should have been installed at some point with our updates. If you don't have one, let us know. There's actually a way I want to talk about how to get that in case you don't have that. We have another module out here called force migration. You may have it implemented on your system, you may not. But if you don't, wow, this one looks quite old. I would have expected it to be a little bit more than this. There should be a registration button for forcing that as well. So let me look at the module that's on this. Yeah, it's just force migration. That's odd. I would have expected more. I thought we had about this many. At any rate, well, there's that one out the window for the moment. I will go figure out why our box doesn't have the full force migration on it, but there should be one there for registration, and that's that event waitlist. And I think Guy sent you that SQL, and you could execute it so that in your events, which I'm gonna now go over here to tags, we'll go to event tags. We'll go look and make sure that there's a custom field group that we can assign to an event tag. Gotta wait for reporting services to spin up. First time it's been touched today. Yay for
I think
that.
Wendy actually found that custom field in our system when she was doing something else. So we did reference to that.
Yeah, excellent. And that is, we do install it. It's part of what we would call a migration. So it's automatically executed database code when you install our modules. So it should be there. So at any rate, you have to have that. Then you add the event waiting list custom field group to any event you want to set up the waiting list for. Let's go see if we've got one that we could kind of work with here. You know what? This women's brunch looks like a great idea to set up for. So we're going to come in here. We're going to make some adjustments to this. Specifically, we're going to, oh, really? What's your issue? Thank you. That is reporting services, not reporting for duty. Let's give it just a second and see if it will come back up this time. No, it's just going to be all kinds of obnoxious. Hold, please. So we're going to go check the status of reporting services in here. Here. Go to the configuration manager and see what's going on with it. Yeah, see, look, it stopped. What do you know? It won't work if it stopped.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Alrighty, let's try this one again, once more, with feeling. Okay. Configuration thing then. Reporting services, configuration. That one. Let's validate it and see if it's right. Look, they hit validate again. Get your cursor off there. It's that errant tap on the touchpad that just clicks it one more time.
That's why I use a mouse always.
You know, my wife loves mice. There's something in, I guess you can't see it over here, but if I was here, I love the multi-gesture stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's not showing you over here. It's on my other screen, but I am a multi-gesture fan. So you're still working on validating. That doesn't bode well. Well, I'm going to have this working in order for the rest of this demo to work. So we're just going to have to sit through me getting this configured and working. So we're going to let this finish, see what it does. Ought to just be a password at this point, unless the web service URL is off.
So we could take our event and set up, put in this custom field group that already we did notice, And then we put the button module on there's a waiting list.
Let's go back to here. So that event waiting list is part of register steps. Register steps will notice that. So you would set the waiting list event custom field setting to the profile ID of the event you wish to use as the waiting event. Now, something that I would make a comment on here, you guys have probably seen our copy event functionality.
Yes.
I would highly suggest you make a copy of your main event and use that as your waiting list. The reason why is that all of the registration details, like a form, if you're using a form to collect information and all that other stuff, they'll still have to provide all that other information. That way, when you move the registration from one profile to the next, guess what? All the details are already there.
Yeah.
And that will allow you not to have to go back to the person and say, okay, hey, you're allowed to come to this event. We had an opening, but now you have to go fill out all this other information. It's just easier to go ahead and collect the information up front. And then when you move the person from one event to the next event, all that stuff follows them. You've got all their t-shirt details or meal preferences or whatever else you've collected as a part of that event registration already ready to go.
Yeah.
And then you have to use our KFS event steps redirect module as the target for your event registration, which is our recommended setup anyway. And you set the waiting list custom field setting on that module, and the module automatically redirects the registration to the waiting list event if the event is full and it has a waiting list defined. There's also a way inside of our promo via XSLT module, which is what we've gone to instead of the event calendar list module,
right,
to show how many registrations are available. And then you can also show the wait list right below it. So you can put both links on there. And the reason for that is, say you're down to like 3 slots available, but somebody's trying to register 5 people. They'd like to know that before they start the registration process, because with 5 people, they're on the wait list because presumably they want all 5 to go. And they're not okay with like 2 people getting left out. So at that point, you want them to be able to register for the event wait list, even though the main event is not full yet. So that's why you would use promo via XSLT to display both.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, because that's what we're using to show our events. So I assume that I just go in there and find that to my XML.
Yep. Okay. So this ought to work better now because it looks like everything's happy now. I think I just was impatient and didn't let recording services start up all the way. Okay. So inside of here, we are going to say one. Let's see here. Where is my limits are going to be under registration. That's right. So let's go over to registration. Limit to 1. This is a very small women's brunch. We're going to open that back up so that it is open through the end of the month. We're all good on that. And we're going to come back to our event details. We're actually going to change the start date and end date of this to be, well, why not the 24th? We'll just pick, how about let's get to May. And we'll pick the 26th. I think I did that on the other one too. So we got that. And then we're going to come over to the registration. Yeah. So let's keep that open through the end of May so that we have something to play with. Excellent. We're going to go ahead and update this just so that I can save all those settings. And then we'll come back in under edit details and we'll set that event wait list custom field. But before I do that, I really ought to make a copy of this event so that I have it. So this is that copy event button that I was talking about. And I just want to make a copy of this women's brunch, and we'll call this the women's brunch wait list. It comes up with the name copy. So we'll call this wait list, but this copied all of the settings, including any event specific details or fields. And I really should have put, oh yeah, I don't put the custom field on this one. Okay, so this is profile 190. We're going to hit our back button a couple times here, get back to where I can make the adjustment that I'm looking for, which we're just going to come under tags. Tags. I could have done that faster, but whatever. We're going to come into the women's brunch because now we want that wait list to be the wait list for this guy. We'll hit edit details on this guy, and we'll come over to the custom fields, and then it'll be a custom field module. We'll pick the group, which is event waiting list, add that field module, which will add the one field on here, which you can't set here. And I think you might actually even have to, yeah, we have to update before we can update it. So now that we've assigned that custom field group to this tag, once I come back in here, now I can actually edit the value on that. And I can, oh, look at that. It's a drop down now. It changed. That's awesome. So women's brunch waitlist update. Okay, now that this is all full and everything is happy there, we ought to be able to come over to here and let's go look for okay, sorry, quick little communication with my wife there for a moment. We're going to go into somewhere where I've got event registrations. I just have to go look for it. Let's look under events. It's probably there. And I did not specifically look to make sure that I had all the things set correctly for yeah, it looks like I'm missing something because it would be showing up right in here. So let's go take a peek and see if I just maybe didn't check a box on promoting this event. Public calendar approved. Let's just set it to all church. Registration should be open. Okay. I'm gonna set that. And then while I'm here, I'm actually gonna go back and well, I'm gonna hop over to it. I'm gonna set this one to be public as well, just to make sure I didn't look specifically to make sure that it was. So I'm gonna take a quick look at that. Yeah, that one's not approved. We need that to be approved. Adult, I want all church. Registration is enabled. Okay. All right. That all looks right. And what page is that? 3647. Let's go take a peek at that page and make sure that it's set correctly. Okay. See if there's any filters on this. There's not, so everything should show.
So you just made the public calendar public. You didn't actually click on the promote this event.
Oh, I probably need to go back and do that too. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I forget that step. Okay, we'll pretend that the rest of those are good and we'll go back to look at what you said because you're probably right on that one.
Well, I was just thinking, oh, I didn't know you could do it that way, but maybe you can't.
You might not be able to, yeah. Yeah, if there's not a promotion via XSLT will not work. You're right. Of course, I didn't create an occurrence, and occurrences are important. Now we've got an occurrence. So let's go take a peek here and see if that makes it show up. It ought to. Or I expected it to, but it doesn't appear. Oh, I changed settings. Got to run that refresh cache. Okay, there's the women's brunch and the women's brunch. Late wait list. Yay. Okay, and I don't think we have everything set for this. Let me see. Let register for this event. I don't know if this is set up to use our event register steps or not. So we'll find out here really quick. If we see the event ID shift over to 190, then we'll know exactly that. Then we'll know that it worked appropriately. Yeah, I think we're still on pages here. Hang on, let's go do a quick reconfiguration here. And let's look at the page that I clicked from was 3352 and register for this event. So we're going to go adjust that. Suppose it might be good to know where I'm going from here, huh?
Are you setting up registration steps for it?
Yes, yes, I am. There should be something in here already set up. I just need to go find it, and I expected to see it underneath here, but I'm not seeing it. Custom registration. Was there custom registration up there? I just went by it. No, there definitely was not custom registration. Okay, well, whatever. This will work just fine. So I just need to go to page 3995 from where I was. Okay. Oh, KFS event redirect, yes, 3477, that's a good one. So let's go look at page 3477 because that's where it's taking it. We're going to take a look at what's on that page. Event steps redirect, that's a good thing. Oh, you know what? I probably didn't have a form on it, so it didn't try and use it. It just went over to the, it went over to the pages because I didn't have the page on it. 3478. I'm just going to set this to 3478 so it goes to register steps regardless, sort of shortcutting it. So I suppose that's another prerequisite. You really do need to be using forms.
You do have to use forms to make the waiting list work?
Based on what I'm seeing here, yes.
Okay. Good to know.
Or you can try the little hacky thing I just did there, which says, regardless of what it is, take it to form. Yeah, now it's going to say there's no form ID on it. I'm sure that's what it's going to say. Previous exception. Yeah, index out of range. It means there's no form on it. Okay, let me go put a form on it really quickly so that we can watch all this work. Sorry for that.
Is that because you said we have to use the KFS event redirect module or step rather?
Right, and well, you have to be on KFS registration steps, and the way that KFS registration steps works is because you're using forms. So if you're not using forms,
we use KFS registration steps. I don't
Yes,
think
but
we're
do
doing forms.
you have a form on it though?
I don't think so. Well, I mean,
That's why I got that error, I believe, is because I didn't have a form assigned to it. So I'm just gonna go select a, let's see here. What looks good? We'll just go retreat. Why not? Seems appropriate. And then I am going to take a second here and go set that on the event wait list as well. Okay. That should all be database based, and it should have worked, and it did not. Okay, well, live demo fail. Event 185, it just does not like something in there. I would have to, I'm gonna need to go look into this. Let's put it that way.
no problem. I think I'll try it on mine, even though we're not, as far as I can tell, using forms. See how it works, but.
Yeah, and we do have it working in other areas. I think I may have just missed a step, possibly, which can happen. So you do have to use the KFS event steps redirect module as the target for your event registrations.
Yep.
Set the field, and then it should just redirect automatically.
Okay. That'll give us a start. I mean, it's for our VBS, so we've got some time.
Not much though. Unless you're doing it in August, you know.
That's true. Why does summer feel like it should be so far away?
It's not. It's May 7th. So,
Matt, I noticed on the waitlist event that you created that the registration limit was still set to 1. We would take that out, correct?
Right. Yes. Yeah. You do not want a registration limit on your wait list. That defeats the purpose of the wait list.
Okay.
Any other questions short of actually showing you it working, which I think you're going to be able to get it working based on this, honestly. Thank you for joining us for this demonstration of Kingdom First Solutions waitlist technology and our token login technology. If you have any other questions about any arena modules that we've built, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at sales@kingdomfirstsolutions.com, or you can reach us on the web at kingdomfirstsolutions.com. We look forward to serving you and your church in the coming days.